Welcome back to another episode of All Things Everything presented by Gulf Coast Smoke. My name is Alonzo.
And I'm Sabrina.
And this is episode 68. Typically, I throw it over to you and ask how you're doing, but I just wanted to say real quickly, it feels really weird being in this chair right now and in this position. I feel like it's been, it has been, but it's been weeks since we've done a podcast. And it feels weird, but good to be back in the seat for sure.
Yeah, so we missed the last couple weeks of the podcast. Now, also, we really enjoyed the backdrop from our last episode.
Mm-hmm.
Now, sales have been going, so we don't have as many boxes. So we came back over to, the other side of the suite here. And I think also it just feels weird because it's a Monday. It's the middle of the day.
Mm-hmm.
So we're kind of getting the podcast out earlier.
Than we normally would.
Getting it done earlier in the week.
Yeah, no, you're right. So I'm off today. We figured we'd do as much as we could. We were supposed to be grilling and smoking some stuff right now, but as I look out the window, I don't even think that's just rain. It is coming down pretty good.
Pouring, yeah.
It's pouring pretty good. So unfortunately couldn't get any grilling in today, and we've been not putting out as much shorts as we normally would be, but we've been traveling. We have plenty to talk about on this episode. We've been traveling the past couple of weeks, I would say a pretty decent amount. Mm-hmm. So, I guess we'll just start from the beginning. A couple of weeks back, our first thing that we did was we went down south to the valley, to San Juan, and we went and hit up GW's BBQ, which is the number 5 barbecue joint on the Texas Monthly Top 50 barbecue list. And we spent the weekend there as well. We hung out with some friends. We did some stuff. But overall, we went to GW's that day. We hung out with George, Pitmaster, and, man, we had a really, really good time. And I think their barbecue is excellent. It is very, very, very good. I was impressed with everything they do over there. They just welcomed us. They allowed us to bring in the cameras. They allowed us to talk to George a little bit. So if you guys go watch that video, I think it's a really, really good one. Fred Robles was there with me, Rini Gonzalez, Cesar Mejia, Santiago Bernal. They were all there, our family, our kids, you and I. And, man, I took a few things away from that trip. Number one, their pork loin. We actually made a video on pork loin after we went there because it was just so good the way they made it. The bite was so tender. It was so juicy. We typically eat pork loin, or we think of pork loin as something that's real dry, very not flavorful. But, man, the way they do it at GW's, it was really, really excellent. So let's go ahead and start the conversation about GW's. What did you think overall? What were some things that you really, really enjoyed about GW's, the food, the experience? Just give us a little breakdown.
Yeah, so first of all, as a restaurant, I think GW's, they've got it set up really nicely. When you walk in, they have a designated area for you to start forming a line, and it's all covered. So, it's nice and cool. They've got fans out there. They've got water stations for everybody waiting. And the wait really wasn't too bad. So they open at 11 o'clock. Mm-hmm. We got there, I think, shortly after 9.
Sure.
And we were the second person there. And like I said, because it's so comfortable, the wait isn't that bad. You could bring a chair. But it's also, they have like turf, like artificial turf there in the where you're waiting. So you could even sit on the ground if you wanted to. Yeah. They've got it set up really nicely. The people there have so much hospitality.
Yes.
So there's the gentleman at the front who is greeting everybody, having conversations with people. When it comes time to open the doors, he's giving everybody this big greeting, standing there at the door, letting people in, letting people out as you go. When you go inside the restaurant, they have the assembly line is very nice. It's functional. It works really well. So they got somebody working on your sides. Then they've got the people slicing up your meats. They got the person at the counter who's getting all those weights, ringing you up for all of your stuff, getting you your drinks. So their assembly line is really good. They had staff that were there in the seating area that are helping you bring trays if you need.
Yeah.
They're seeing if they need to get trash from your tables. It's not just go get your food and go sit down and eat.
Sure.
They're a restaurant. And they're trying to make sure that your experience as a customer is so good that you do want to come back, which it was, honestly.
For sure.
Which we ended up coming back anyway.
Yeah.
But so I think the overall, the aesthetic of GW and the restaurant itself is really, really nice. Those are the kind of barbecue spots that you want to go because I think when we think about barbecue spots, we think about these like hole in the wall places, right?
Sure.
That you're just grabbing a Coke and going sitting at a picnic table, right?
Yeah.
Now this is like an actual full on restaurant. So you're going to go in experiencing what you would at any other restaurant.
Yeah, no, I agree with everything that you said about the vibe of it. So if I had to give the vibe itself a rating from the second you walk up to the second that you leave, 10 out of 10. We're not talking about the food yet. 10 out of 10 on the vibe. So the cool thing about it is the pit room is like pretty open. It's covered,
Right.
but it's pretty open. So I was able to walk up, talk to George, talk to Alec, talk to Rob. They're over there cooking. They're getting the proteins ready, and you can just walk up and talk to them. They're no secrets. They're showing you what they do. George was really, really open and willing to talk to us about his process and about GWs and stuff like that. So if you guys go watch that video, you'll get some behind-the-scenes stuff where we do get to talk to him and we do get to pick his brain, and he kind of shares a little bit of the GW story. But then you have Matt coming out front, talking to people, front of the line, and Big Rob, and they were talking to the first person in line. Hey, thanks for coming. Where are you from? Thank you for being here. What are you guys excited about? It just, the hospitality, like you said, is like in nothing I've ever seen. And it was just really, really cool because also as soon as it turned 11, Matt comes out and he's kind of like, all right, everybody, welcome to GWs. Yeah. Thank you for being here. Or he says like, welcome home. Thank you for being here. We're going to get you inside. You're going to eat some dang good barbecue today. Come on in. And then, people are kind of like clapping, yay. And so then you get to walk in, and then you have people there, hey, welcome to GW's, greeting you when you come in. And then, like you said, you go to the assembly line, you order your food, you get out, and they have that thing run so well. Even so, like Sabrina said, we did go back, but the first and the second time we went, it was, you couldn't even finish a plate with somebody was grabbing it. Hey, let me get your trash for you. Hey, do you need another drink? Hey, do you need any sauce? Hey, do you need a plate? Do you need it to go? Do you need anything else? Or are you missing something? They were just 100% on top of it. And I think that, kind of like Sabrina said, I think that's very important when it comes to a restaurant in general, right? The customer service has to be there. GW's absolutely has that customer service down to a T. So I have nothing but the utmost respect for them on that. And, man, I don't know what type of training they're doing or what they're doing over there, but really and truly shout out to those guys for that. And I think a lot of it is, I talked to Rob. He's one of the pit masters. He works over there with George, and I talked to him a little bit. And, him and I had some conversations about a little bit of his personal life. Nothing bad is going on in it at all, so don't get that idea. But, he even told me, like, man, I could have moved back here, or I could have moved here because of this or because of this. But, man, what we got going here is something that I want to be a part of, and I'm proud of. And I think that people buying into GWs, I'm sure they want to be number one. I'm sure they want to be the best that they can be. And I think that that's huge. All those people seem to truly love being a part of the GW's family. And I think that you can see it, you can feel it, and of course you can taste it in the food. So before we went to GW's, I had said many, many times before the list, in between the last list and this list, that burnt bean was my favorite. And I even said it on like the podcast with Malcolm. I've said it to people. I've said it to you. We've talked about it here. And I can say that GW's is they're creeping up, right? They're coming up. They're going to be a force to be reckoned with for a long, long time. George is young. He's 31. And, he's got a long, long time to go. He's only going to get better. I'm not really sure how you get that much better, but he's only going to get better. He's only going to become a better chef, a better cook in general. And I think, GW's was just the experience. Again, there's a reason that we went back. So we'll talk a little bit more about the second trip in a little bit because we kind of want to go in chronological order. But, we went to GW's. We had a bunch of friends there. We ordered the whole menu. I think it was about $400, right? So we ordered the whole menu. Sabrina and I try to tip 20% every single place we go to. It just feels like the right thing to do. So I talk about that and I say these things because if you guys want to go and order the whole menu, this is what you need to expect. That's the only reason we bring that up. But as far as the proteins, as far as the meats, the sides, what stuck out to you? What do you think they're doing better than others? And what were you... Yeah, I mean, like, what do you think they're doing better than others to be at that number 5 as opposed to just in the top 50?
Yeah, so, and, you know, I kind of have not necessarily mixed feelings about this, but to me, when we think about the places who get on this list, you got to nail the brisket, like the classics, right? You got to nail the brisket, you got to nail the ribs, the turkey. Most places have smoked turkey, so I think you have to nail those things. But I think what takes places like GW's and Burnt Beans to the next level is those unique barbecue items that they offer that you might not find anywhere else. So, for example, some of the best things we had were the pork belly fried rice and the Chinese orange pork belly. I loved their macaroni.
Mm-hmm.
Their macaroni's, it's top notch, and I feel like we're in a weird way we're like big macaroni critics because, like, you know, we got 3 kids, so they grow up like for periods of their life only wanting to eat macaroni, you know, so we kind of have nailed our recipe down. So we're very kind of critical of other macaronis, and that they've got theirs nailed down to a T.
Yeah. The first bite, not to interrupt you, the first bite that you take of that macaroni, it has Ritz crackers that were like sauteed in butter on top. So like those first 5-6 bites have that Ritz cracker. Oh my, it's making my mouth water thinking about it. It's creamy. It says white cheddar mac.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just so good.
Well, I think like one of the things that makes macaroni the best is when you don't use macaroni noodles. Like you don't use the elbow macaroni. Like for us, we like to use the shells, and it takes it, you know, to another level. And GW's uses a different type of pasta, which works really, really well to hold in that sauce, right? So yeah, those were some of my favorite things. Like you said, the pork loin. I love their ribs. They have very, very good flavor on their ribs.
Mm-hmm.
Son really enjoyed them as well. But
so they have like a glaze that they put on them. It looks kind of almost like a competition style glaze that you would put on your ribs before you box them. And George actually was telling me that he wanted to do competition before he got into restaurant style barbecue. So maybe, and this is not something he told me, but maybe he got a little bit of influence from that side. But of course they do make that glaze. They have it in a gigantic 5-gallon Cambro bucket that they're using, and it's a very, very, very good glaze. And one of the things that I personally like about pork ribs and pork in general is a saucy rib is saucy pork. That's just me, so that hit really, really hard for me, and I think it did for you. I think the kids I think they like the glazy, saucy ribs too, because that's just what we've really introduced to them in their lives. That glaze is really, really good. Well, I love it.
And I think though what makes them so good as well is that they have their ribs wrapped in foil with that glaze until time to serve, right? And that's a very like competition type technique.
Mm-hmm.
And so it sets the sauce, but it also it remains very similar to like a Central Texas rib. So when you get it, it doesn't look like it's super saucy, right? But you taste it and you've got that glaze. You got a good amount of it as well. So it's got a really good flavor. Those are some of my favorite things. But yeah, I mean, they've nailed their brisket. They've nailed their beef ribs. And I think they have like the 2 types of beef ribs.
Yeah, so they have the dino ribs and then they have the Wagyu beef back, which the beef back, if you guys don't know, it's the bones that actually is right there on top of the ribeye.
Right.
So that bone, if it extends, it's actually connected to the actual ribeye steak. So very, very minimal meat, I would say, but they just taste really, really dang good.
Well, theirs were pretty meaty actually.
Yeah, they actually were. Fred and I talked about that a little bit in the video. I think if you over-smoke them, overcook them, all that meat kind of just like disintegrates and melts away. But they just did a really, really good job with those beef ribs for sure.
Yeah, so if I had to say what my favorites are, it's that fried rice, the macaroni, the turkey, and the ribs. Like I said, now me personally, brisket's never really my go-to, but I like brisket when it's like mixed into things, right? Sure. So that's why I love burnt beans breakfast because the brisket's mixed in. Mm-hmm. It's not usually going to be the meat that I go for. But that being said, their brisket, it's done very well.
Sure.
It's cooked well, it has good flavor. So they've nailed that, and I think that's key to being up there on that list, right? But some of my favorite items were those like different items, like the ribs with that perfect glaze, the macaroni, the fried rice, the pork belly. So I would say those were my favorite for sure.
For sure. I agree with you 100% on that. I agree with all those things. I really did also like, which unfortunately you didn't try it, the Salisbury steak.
Yeah.
And the Salisbury steak is, I can't remember how many ounces G told me it was, but it's just a large patty smoked to perfection over a bed of mashed potatoes. There's some onions, and there's like a really, really good gravy. Au jus. Yeah, Rini was in love with au jus. That Salisbury steak was incredible. Also, if you go, you must, I'm not exaggerating, you must get the cornbread. It is the best cornbread I've ever had in my entire life. That is no exaggeration. That cornbread. Now, it is a sweet cornbread, right? So this is kind of what I was talking about, I think maybe on the last episode, which was, 2 or 3 weeks ago. But we're going to try really, really hard not to just say that everything is so good. If we feel that, we will say that. But like that being said, I loved the cornbread.
Yeah.
Yesterday when we went back, I ate very minimal meats and I ate 2 pieces of cornbread. But again, it is sweet. It is very buttery. You guys, that may not be for you. So when I love something, I'm going to try my best to explain why I love it or give you the details behind it. Oh, it's very tender, it's very rendered, it's very sweet, it's very salty, it's very whatever. Because I have to understand, and you guys need to understand, that I might like something that you guys just don't. So when I give you guys those details, that maybe helps you make a determination moving forward if you want to pay for it or not. And that's also why we give you the price because, well, I don't want to order the whole menu because it's going to cost $400. So what am I going to do that Alonzo and Sabrina liked and Alonzo's friends that they liked what's worth going over there and buying? And I think that that's important for you guys to watch and really, I think also you can kind of tell when I really love something because we watch the videos back afterwards just to make sure everything looks okay, nothing was, messed up. And you can kind of tell in my face when I really like something, I feel. So if you guys catch on to those things, I think that'll maybe help you a little bit as well. But before we move any further, I do want to say that we do have, and we'll move into this in a little bit, but the video that's coming out or that just came out on Wednesday, so this is Friday, the video that just came out on Wednesday was our visit to Burnt Bean. We actually had George Watts, the pitmaster and owner of GW's. He came with us. Him and Rob drove from the valley to Seguin, met us there, and we had lunch together. Do you guys prefer when we have somebody there with us as like a second commentator, or do you prefer if it's just me? I'm not going to be offended if you guys like people being there. I do think it adds a great dynamic to the video, but if you guys think that it's better with just me, and let me know. Also, on that video and then moving forward, what we're going to do is I'm going to say it in the very end of the video. Hey, drop a comment down below. Where do we go next? Whatever restaurant gets the most upvotes, that's the restaurant that we'll do next-ish, right? We'll do that restaurant, not necessarily next, because the way that Sabrina and I have to do these is we have to do it based off of my work schedule, and sometimes we're able to go far, sometimes we have to kind of stay close. It just really depends on what's going on, but if you leave a comment, for example, and you say, hey, go to Franklin, and it has 100 upvotes, and the next one has 99, well, Franklin won. We will go to Franklin, and we will make a video of that trip 100%. And if I had to give you a time frame, I would say we can make it happen within 2 months for sure, right? We do need some time to drive over there, film it, edit it, come back. We try and make these videos really, really produced where it feels like an episode of Food Network, something like that. And so it takes us some time. It does take us some time. But either way, just be on the lookout for those style of videos, which is going to be like the restaurant reviews. And let us know and always be open and honest with us because we are trying to make the best videos that we can for you guys.
Yeah, and I think lastly for GWs, one of the things that we didn't get to mention in the video is that George let us know that all these pit masters that have been with him, they've been with him since the beginning, and they've only been there. So I really love the whole team that they've got going on, and I think especially they're a newer restaurant for them, or a younger restaurant for the most part, right?
Sure.
So I think people don't realize how hard it is to open a restaurant and have it be successful, especially as successful as they are right now.
Sure.
So I think whatever they, like you said, whatever they're doing it right. And it's something you really love to see because it makes your experience as a diner much more enjoyable. But right, so we're going to talk a little bit more about, our trip yesterday to GW's. But let's move on to what our next thing was, and that was our competition in Cuero.
Yeah, a couple weekends back, we went to Cuero, Texas for a gigantic event, and it was an IBCA and a CBA on the same day at the same time-ish, and, everybody just battled it out. There was 185 teams there. I think it was 100 for IBCA and 85 for CBA or something like that, and so 185 teams battling it out, and it was a really, really hot event. It was a really fun event. It was a little bit hectic. We turned in, we turned in margaritas. We turned in steak. We turned in grilled cheese. We turned in beans. We turned in chicken for IBCA, chicken for CBA, ribs for IBCA, ribs for CBA, pork for CBA, brisket for both IBCA and CBA. That's everything, right? 11 turn-ins in less than 24 hours.
Right.
So it was very hectic and it was very crazy, but it was a lot of fun, right? So, of course, every single time we go to an event, we want to win. But this one in Cuero was pretty cool for us because Penelope decided that she wanted to do her first ever kids queue. So we had actually been practicing at the house some recipes for her to learn how to do a competition ribeye. And I think we did, 2 of them before she actually went and did the competition. And the cool thing about it was the first one that we made was not very good, but we made some adjustments. Penny thought it needed to be a little bit saltier. We made some adjustments and we made it better. And then we went to Cuero and she cooked the steak for Kids Q. And I don't know how many kids there were. I know it was a pretty decent amount. And she hit a 3rd place steak and won $500. So that was, if I'm being honest with you guys, as a parent, and you guys probably would feel the same exact way, when that happened, I think genuinely, that was the happiest I've ever been at a competition. We've GC'd before, we've done really well before, but I've never been that happy. We all kind of screamed, we got up, we jumped. It was a little emotional. I almost started crying.
Yeah.
Sabrina almost started crying. I'm not even paying attention. Sabrina was trying to use her phone to record, and I was just so out of it. I saw her phone, I grabbed it from her, and then I pressed record, not realizing that she was already recording. I stopped the recording. I was like, no.
Well, my recording was all of our feet because at first I didn't hear, we heard the song playing, but it sounded muffled. And so I couldn't make out what song it was. And then me and Penny finally realized and we looked at each other.
Yeah.
So I'm just filming like this, right? But yeah, it's one of those things where, it really is. It's just barbecue. We try not to take it too seriously, even though we definitely try our very best every time we go. But we also try to remind ourselves that, hey, it's just barbecue. Don't take it too seriously. But and we've never gotten emotional about ourselves getting a call.
No.
But yeah, seeing your kid,
get happy like that. Oh my
and
dude.
on her first cook, I was holding in the tears for sure.
No, and so after that, I don't want to say we didn't care. That's a lie. I still wanted to win, but I was definitely on a very, very high.
Mm-hmm.
And I can guarantee you GCing it would not have made it any higher because I was just at such a high. I really was on such a high. So it was crazy. That was emotional. And then of course we get into the IBCA and the CBA, and it's crazy. So we'll talk about this past weekend competition too, but that is 4 contests in a row, 4 contests in a row where we have not gotten worse than 6th place chicken.
Yeah.
And that is crazy. If you guys have followed our journey, you know that it's probably about to snow right outside right now because chicken has been our weakest category. But the one thing I'll say is, and this is not just with barbecue chicken or ribs or anything else, but the one thing I can tell you is, truthfully, Sabrina and I had always talked about, oh, we're going to work on it. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. We're going to try this. We're going to try that. Sabrina and I can honestly probably say never. Okay, I don't want to say never, but we were not really practicing it as hard as we could have at home until before this kind of chicken success quotations, you're seeing my quotations, started. And we hit it pretty hard. We revamped our recipe like all the way down to nothing and decided, okay, let's try this. Let's try this. Let's put trifecta. Let's do this. Let's do that. Let's brine with this. Let's take that brine out, whatever. And we finally got a recipe down that we really like. And it just tastes like really good chicken in our opinion. And so it's been one of those things where the recent chicken success has felt really, really good.
Yeah, I mean, we've really simplified our chicken. But the funny thing is, so, we haven't cooked a half chicken in quite some time. We haven't done too many IVCAs recently. And so when awards start, the first call we get is a 4th place chicken.
Yes.
So, and it's funny because thinking about our cook, I thought this was a very, very consistent cook overall for us.
Sure.
Which I know there was a lot of people cooking like 2 briskets, lots of this, lots of that. We really just kept it simple and said we're going to just do the same thing we can. The only thing different is that we're going to make that half chicken for IBCA.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that being said, our chicken we thought it was good. We thought it was what we wanted. By no means did I think that was the best thing we put out. I feel like a lot of our other stuff is very, very good. Those are the things that I would go back and eat. And these results, man, that like when we get that chicken call, we're like, okay, well, things should be pretty good from here because we know everything else is consistent.
Sure.
We know everything else is very strong. The statistics are proven a little more with those other proteins. So getting that first chicken call, we really felt like, okay,
we have a chance.
We have a chance here.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what did you think about the cook overall? Because, and I told you this several times, I thought it was so strong that there's nothing I would have changed.
I mean, I agree. The one thing, and you and I have talked about it the past 2 weeks because we are, and we'll get into Gregory in a little bit, but we are coming off of what I would feel are 2 of our stronger cooks in a while. I felt really good about every single protein. We've turned in so much brisket, ribs, pork, and chicken by now that we feel that we know what's good and what's not. At least what is good or what's not of our standards or our proteins. And in Cuero, I felt so confident. And, it's kind of funny. It's always like, you feel so confident that's a bad thing, right? Or whatever. And honestly, I've never really believed that, I guess. If you feel confident, you feel confident. That's a good thing. But it was one of those cooks where I felt like, I bit the rib and I looked at you and I was like, these are some of the best ribs we ever made. Same thing with the pork. Texture was perfect. Same thing with the brisket. We did only cook the one brisket, but we got plenty of slices. We got 14 good slices, and we knew that we could build 2 boxes. And the flavor was there. The moisture was there. The burnt ends were, incredible. I not even exaggerating. I felt like they were incredible. I had heard that they didn't like burnt ends there in Cuero, but I was hoping that was not the case, I guess. Or I was hoping that maybe our burnt ends were a little bit different than they've had before. I don't know what I expected, but I feel like in a situation like that where I felt that confident about the burnt ends, it's so hard to not put them in. Because we bit them, my dad bit them, Chance bit them, Danielle bit them, and they're like, oh my gosh, these are fire.
Yeah.
And when you have that many people saying like, this is incredible, then, and the thing is, like with dad especially, he will not lie.
Yeah.
Because I've told him before, like, Dad, we are trying to win. Please do not lie. So he understands that when we give him a piece of food, we are trying to get feedback and critique, and a lot of the times either confirm or, I guess, go against what we're thinking, because we want to make sure that it is as good as we think in our head. So that being said, I did feel really, really strong about everything that we cooked. And when you do start off with that fourth place chicken, especially for us, I by no means thought we were going to win, but I'm thinking, okay, I think we have a really good shot to be inside the top 10 here. I think we have a really good shot. There's, 100 teams, but I think that, especially starting off with a chicken call, we can get in there. And I'm going to be honest with you, I don't even know what the placings were on the others. I know we got I think it was pretty around the 25 to 35 mark on the brisket and the ribs. And we landed outside of the top 10 in IBCA. And it definitely is oh man, how did this happen? But I mean, what can you really say? What can you really do? It happens. You don't always get the results you want. You don't always land on the tables that love your food, but I wouldn't have changed anything about that. And so the thing that Sabrina and I will do a lot of the times is, in the moment, you're like, no, that brisket was perfect, that rib was perfect, that whatever was perfect. And then a couple hours later on the drive home, you're like, you know what? Man, that rib actually wasn't that good. It was kind of tight. Or I burned the bottom. Or the sauce rubbed off. Or just whatever. And we could not, for 3 days, we couldn't figure out, man, what was wrong with those. And, I even asked my dad, hey, are you sure you thought that rib was that good? Are you sure you thought? And he's like, dude, everything was incredible. So you kind of just have to get over it and move on. That's just the way the world works. It's not always fair. It's not always going to go the way you want it to, but we definitely did feel okay, that stings, but we got another shot with CBA. We got the added pork. We still felt really good about our ribs and our brisket. So it's okay, let's go into the CBA awards now. So, man, we start off with another chicken call.
First call of the
first
CBA
call
awards,
of CBA,
yeah.
10th place chicken. So we're okay, here we go. We go again.
We're back in.
We're back in again. It didn't go our way in IBCA, but we can still do really well in CBA. I mean, again, you're not thinking you're going to win it, but you're thinking top 10, maybe a top 5. Yeah, maybe you can win it, but you're not thinking oh, I won off of chicken. You're just thinking, dang good start. Let's continue to go. So after chicken call, what happened?
Yeah, I felt really confident in our cooks. So even though we cooked the same ribs and turned in the same ribs for IBCA that we did for CBA, I know that there's still a chance, right? But they go through that top 10, and realistically, any walk you get in that big of a competition is great.
Yeah.
But me, the type of person I am, knowing our cook and knowing how it turned out, I'm looking for that 5 and up.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not even paying attention to 10th through 5th, right? But we go through ribs and no call. And it's dang, okay, well, on to pork. We had a solid pork box. And once again, 10th through 5th, nothing. I'm okay, well, that's all right, because I'm expecting 5th and up. Another call, or another no call.
Mm-hmm.
We get to brisket, and once again, no call. And that's hard. It's a very psychological aspect to the competition scene, where it's I never place in chicken, but we place in everything else. And it's oh, we're just waiting. If we can finally place in chicken, our stats go up. The chances of us being able to get a grand champion or a reserve go up, because that's our weakest link, right?
Sure.
So we fix that problem, and then it's no call in anything else.
Yeah.
And it really messes with you, because, as I mentioned, our chicken was great. It's exactly what we wanted, but it's by no means the strongest of our proteins flavor-wise, because we're going for a non-offensive chicken.
Sure.
We're going for a chicken that's not going to be too salty, too sweet, too this, too that, But our other proteins, we try to pack those full of flavor, still not offending any of the judges, but we're packing those full of flavor. We're going for that great appearance and everything, and then you don't get that call, and it's just dang, what is going on? Like, we finally get our chicken calls, and we don't get a call on anything else.
Yeah, I mean, it's most definitely frustrating. Like I said, so 4 contests in a row that we've gotten the chicken walk, and unfortunately nothing else comes through for us. When, like Sabrina said, typically it was no chicken walk and everything else would carry us. And it felt like for a long time we were getting like better than 5th on ribs, like almost every contest. There'd be a couple of contests here and there where we didn't do that well, but Sabrina mentioned it. It's a mental warfare. So it's one of those things where the reality is, as confident as Sabrina and I are, there are a lot of really good cooks out there.
Mm-hmm.
And that contest basically had all of them. It had basically all of them, with the exception of a few. I think maybe Robert Smith wasn't there. I think Phil was not there. Carlos wasn't there. But they've been like traveling throughout the states, chasing Jack Daniels and stuff like that. So I think that with the exception of a few, everybody was there. So when you're going up against the best of the best, things like this are bound to happen. That's for sure. And at the end of the day, we were definitely disappointed. We wanted a little bit more out of it. But truth be told, I mean, it happens, and we just tried our best to move forward. And we had decided, okay, after that, we're going to go to Gregory the next weekend. We didn't know if we were going to do it for sure. We just weren't sure if we were going to do it because it's hot. We got the kids. But it's so close to home, we figured we might as well. But in between the competition at Cuero and Gregory, we did put out a steak video. So we put out the steak video because, number one, we hadn't put out a steak video in forever. And number two, we had just gotten off of cooking a lot of steaks and practicing a lot of steaks at the house. And we really felt like we found a very, very, very easy way to do them.
Mm-hmm.
And we just wanted to share that on YouTube. So if you guys haven't watched that video, go back. It's not a competition recipe. There's no marinade to this or anything. There's just some really good seasonings. We did use grill grates, and I actually had somebody comment today, or maybe yesterday, I can't remember, and they did say, man, the steaks look great. I don't prefer the grill marks. I prefer a sear all the way over the steak. And I'm not going to sit here and lie, so do I, and so does Sabrina. But the reason we wanted to put that video out was because those grill grates, the most important thing for us when it comes to our kid cooking is her safety.
Mm-hmm.
So those grill grates offer a little buffer in between the hot coals and those steaks, especially ribeyes. They're really, really fatty, so you can have some flare-ups. The last thing we want is our daughter to get hurt, so we've just been using the grill grates a lot at the house while she's practicing. And I do think it makes for an easier cook on the steak because you're not getting those flare-ups. You don't have to move the steak around as much. You can kind of just let it sit there. You can do your rotation. You can do 2 minutes, flip. Around 6 minutes, that ribeye is just about done at an inch and a quarter. It's just almost done. So it's almost foolproof. And then just rest it in the foil with the good butter, maybe with some A1, whatever you want. Don't use A1 if you don't want to either. That's fine. But we most definitely had been cooking a lot of steaks, and we just wanted to put out a simple recipe for you guys. If you're not confident in steaks, man, I'll tell you what, a Weber kettle, some grill grates, you're going to be able to make a banging steak. You just want to make sure to pull it and rest it. I really feel like resting is just so important. It's so detrimental to almost cooking anything, right? Yeah. It just allows the meat to relax a little bit, stop cooking, redistribute those juices, and you're going to get a much more tender and juicy bite. So what did you think about that recipe? Do you think it's as easy as I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I mean, I think a lot of our recipes lately have really been utilizing this, cook, get to a temp, and rest.
Sure.
Like the turkey breast, the pork loin, the steak. The steak cooks faster and easier than doing it like a reverse sear.
Mm-hmm.
Because a reverse sear, you're going to have to, let it get to that temp, then sear it off, right? This one, you're just searing in minutes. And then you're letting it carry, because you're cooking at a very high temp, right? So you let it carry over in that foil, and then it's going to get to the right temperature.
Sure.
And I think you have much more room for success cooking it this way and getting it to like that medium or the medium rare, whatever temperature you want. Because when you do a reverse sear, you're doing it, I mean, unless you maybe have some grill grates heating up separately on the direct side, and then you want to grill it, maybe that'll work. But when you're doing it straight on the grate with those flames, yeah, I mean, it can get out of control, and you have more room for error or getting outside of that internal temp that you want.
Yeah.
So I think this is like a really foolproof. I think for people especially who maybe don't know how to cook a steak, but you have a loved one. It's Father's Day, it's Mother's Day, it's Valentine's Day, it's somebody's birthday, right? And you really want to do something special for them. The grill grates, they're going to give you that good look that's going to make it seem like, dang, this person knows what they're doing. You know what I mean?
And also just so you know, we're not like trying to promote you to go buy a grill grate or anything, right? But like,
no,
it's a very good tool. This basically what I'm saying is like, we're not being given anything to say this. We genuinely just think this is a great product.
Right. And I think it's going to be the easiest way for you to cook a steak without messing it up.
No, I agree.
You know, if our child can do it and she can do it safely, then you know this is a good way for any adult to be able to cook the steak well.
And the truth is, we've talked about it before. Sabrina and I will actually eat an overcooked steak if it has that crust. I know that sounds crazy, right? But like, it's true. I love that texture. I love that little crunch that you get on a really, really well-seared steak. So I do think that there's something to be said about the grill grates being able to protect the bottom of that meat. And again, you're not going to get any crazy, crazy burn marks on it, where if you're cooking directly over coals, you do have the possibility of burning it. You 100% do. So I think this is a really good foolproof method. Wow, I almost blew up there. But don't be afraid to rest it in some foil with some butter, with a little bit of sauce down there, a little chimichurri, whatever you want. Man, it's going to add a lot of flavor to that steak, and then just cut it up and eat it and enjoy.
Yeah, and I think also, I mean, you could even do your sear marks first, take the grill grates off, and cook the bottom side. You know, if you have a little two-zone or something, like we cooked it on the PK. So if you get one side of the PK really hot, sear it off, and then, you know, you can move it indirect if you need to get away from, you know, that direct zone once you take the grill grates off. But you can get a good sear on that bottom side because it's not the presentation side, right? So if you want more of that flavor, you could absolutely do that as well. Because,
just keep kind of flipping it around or like rotating it.
Yeah, doing that, moving it indirect, and then putting it back until it reaches that internal temp that you want before you rest it.
Sure.
So, yeah, I mean, that's just a really simple recipe. I think if you're having trouble with your steaks at home, this is definitely the place to start.
Yeah, I agree. And then from there, you can just evolve and do different things and try different things. But part of it, and I believe I said it in that video, man, get outside and cook something good.
Yeah.
And that's the most important thing, and that's what we want everybody to take from our videos. Get outside, have some fun, cook some good barbecue.
So, yeah, after that steak video, we took a drive up to Burnt Bean.
Mm-hmm.
We went and we met up with George from GW's.
Yes.
And Rob.
Yep.
And now, I know we've said this. I really love Burnt Bean's breakfast a lot, but we really wanted to do a review of their regular barbecue menu, especially with them getting the number one. So they're for anyone who doesn't know, they're number one on the Texas Monthly Top 50 list.
Sure. And they've been our number one for a while, right? I would say since 2022, 2023, we've been saying that they're our favorite, and there's reasons why. And we'll go into those reasons why over the next, couple of minutes, obviously. But, we do love the Burnt Bean, and I think what they're doing over there is incredible. So going to Seguin, driving over there, getting there early, and going in to eat, my expectations are still really high. Like, I'm like, okay, I've been saying this is the best. I tell everybody I love it. I tell everybody to go. It's been a while since we've had it. Let's make sure it still is the best. Let's make sure it still is on point. So we went over there. I have to say thanks to Ernest and David for the hospitality. They treated us so well without even really knowing us. I know of Ernest. I've talked to him a few times. We are not great friends or anything, so the way he treated us was incredible. Dave seems like such a good dude, genuinely such a good dude. That was the first time I had ever really talked to him like that, and they were just amazing. So the things they had on special that day was the red onion burger and the pork steak. So like we ordered everything. We ordered the red onion burger, the pork steak. We ordered the turkey, the sausage, the brisket, the ribs. I mean, everything. We ordered everything that they had to offer. Then we went and we got some banana pudding. man, we bought hats, we bought shirts, we bought stickers, we bought everything. So we ended up spending around $400 again. And again, that's so you guys know, if you want to go and you want to buy out their menu, that's what you're looking to spend. But we sat down, and the very, very first thing that I said I wanted to take a bite of was, of course, brisket. And the second I took a bite of their brisket, it was pretty much confirmed for me that, yeah, they're still the real deal, beyond the real deal. And number one is well-deserved. The texture on that brisket is just insane, and the flavor that they get on that is also incredible. Incredibly beefy, tastes like brisket, just tastes really clean. And I've talked about this before, and I hate beating a dead horse, but perfectly rendered brisket fat becomes a part of the experience. And it tastes a little bit sweet, it's a little sticky, it's a little buttery, and it just complements the brisket slice so well. So upon my first bite, I just knew right away, yeah, this is it. This is it, and they are the real deal. There's a reason why they got number one. And, you know, of course, we went on to taste everything. I loved the turkey. Their rib was, I can't even explain to you how tender it was without it just completely falling off the bone and being mush. The texture on that rib was perfect. Very, very meaty. I'm like, where do y'all get y'all's ribs? I want those for competition. But, you know, it really just was an experience. And, man, I just loved it. I loved it. We got every single side. What did we get? We got, we got everything. We got everything. The one thing that I'll say that stuck out, two things that stuck out to me. So there was a poblano sausage, and then also the brisket boudin, and he has like a sweet and spicy sauce on the side. Oh my gosh, you have to get both of those. And then also, Dave was outside, and they've got a Syntex cooker. It's a direct cooker, and they're grilling chicken legs. And seriously, like, talking about it is making my mouth water. Dave was like putting them into a tray to take them inside, and he like ripped off a little piece and he gave it to me outside. And I was like, you brine that? Just so flavorful. And he's like, nope, didn't do anything, just cooking it on this cooker. So I officially want a direct cooker from Syntex, but you know, I'm pretty sure I if I had to guess, that thing was expensive, so might have to wait a little bit, you know, the way my bank account works is. But yeah, man, I mean, I don't really know what else to say. I mean, they're doing huge things. We got Ernest on camera very, very briefly, because as I'm sure you guys could imagine, being the number one barbecue spot in Texas, you are a very, very busy person. So we got him on camera, I think, just for around, you know, a minute or two, and just great people, great experience. Hospitality was there as well. And the cool thing that I really like about their spot is Ernest is there cutting the meats, putting it on a tray, and he's owner pitmaster, and he's still in there, you know, running the show. Dave was outside literally grilling the chicken, bringing it inside. Both of them were walking around the restaurant. Hey, do you guys need anything? Can I get you anything? People were asking for forks, napkins, whatever. And they were like, yeah, sure. Boom. Here you go. Here you go. Here you go. And, you know, then you had pictures or people asking for pictures with Ernest, and he's stopping to take pictures. Meanwhile, he's busy. Like, the experience was incredible. The line was around the block and then some. Huge line. It was just wild. I mean, it I don't know. It was just a great experience, and I'm just really glad that the food is as good as I remember. And one of the things that I did want to bring up, and I want you to talk about a little more, because we've been telling our family this the past couple of days. Their proteins are incredible. Everything that they do is very, very good. The reason that we truly fell in love with Burnt Bean was actually not because of anything that we ate that day. It was because of their breakfast that they serve on Sundays. Now, we did not go and review the breakfast because they only have it on Sundays, but if people are going to Burnt Bean, they're going to have a great experience getting the proteins, getting the sides, getting all that stuff, right? You agree?
Mm-hmm, yeah.
But, I mean, what about that breakfast makes it top notch? What about that breakfast makes it worth going on a Sunday morning as opposed to a Thursday afternoon?
Right. So, as I mentioned earlier, when you're up high on this list, I think you absolutely need to nail the classics, right? And so they have their classics nailed. They have the brisket nailed. They have those ribs nailed, the turkey. The execution on their proteins is nailed. Now, me specifically, I love, like, there's two sides to the argument for people where they're like, the sides don't matter and it's the meats that matter. But people like me, I enjoy the sides. I enjoy the food as a whole. And so one of the things I really love about their brunch, their Sunday breakfast, is that it's like all of these things coming together in a dish. So you've got the brisket, like what is it, the Casanova?
Yeah, the Casanova has fried corn
tortillas. Yeah.
Yep, with refried beans, brisket, barbacoa, fried egg, salsa, and cotija cheese.
Right, I think
maybe with some cilantro.
Yeah, right.
Oh yeah, and yeah, you're right. But I mean, like, yeah, that's an experience. That's a little. So I will say, just to kind of back Sabrina up, I'm more of the, I want the proteins to be good. I don't want to say I don't care about the sides, but I definitely do not care as much as Sabrina does.
Well, I care about the proteins being good, but for me, if I want to go back to a place, I want something besides meat. I don't want to just go and eat meat. And I love, as I mentioned, when these barbecue places have these unique items that you're not going to find. And I think one way you can do that and dip your toe into that is with the sides, right? So some of the sides that Burnt Bean had that I really liked was that, like, potato. I don't remember what it was called.
I think it was like a crispy ranch potato ranch or something.
Right.
A crispy or a bacon ranch potato.
Right, and it's almost like a hash brown, like a casserole type thing. That was very good. Their corn pudding was good. So like a mix, right, a mixture between like cornbread and like the corn.
And then their beans.
Their beans were good.
So Ernest actually walked by the table and he was like, "Man, how's everything?" And I was like, "Dude, the beans are fire."
Yeah.
And he was like, "My favorite bite is the corn pudding with the beans." He's like, "I eat it every day." So I was like, "Oh shoot, I did it right there in front of him." I was like, "All right, well," I grabbed my spoon. Oh, and by the way, for anybody that's wondering, we used about 6,000 forks and spoons because we had gotten roasted before for using the same, well, not even the same fork, but yeah.
We didn't even use the same fork.
But yeah, we got roasted, so we were trying not to gross anybody out, so we swapped out forks and spoons a lot. Anyway, so I went and I got a big scoop of the corn pudding, and then I went and got the beans, and it's like Chilean cornbread almost, right? But it's not. I don't know, but it gives you that same vibe. So yeah, really, really, I would say that's a pro move.
Yeah.
Get the beans, get the corn pudding, and get a bite and a bite at the same exact time, and you will enjoy that bite. And that came straight from Ernest. He walked by and said, hey, try that out. And it really was as good as advertised.
Well, see, and those are the things I like to do is, like, mix my proteins with my sides, right? So, like, the green beans are excellent. They're very much like a green bean we like to make at home with, like, the tomatoes and the onions and the bacon. So I really like those. But I like to eat, like, a scoop of this with a scoop of meat. Like, I like these things kind of mixed together, right? Like,
sure.
I'm never going to go and just only get brisket. I got to get something to, like, mix in with it, just because that's how I like to eat. And I think that's how a lot of people like to eat. They don't want to just eat straight meat, and really you can't. I mean, if you're going there and eating just straight meat, you can barely eat anything. So I like to have those things to kind of offset all of these proteins.
Yeah.
Right? So I enjoy the culinary experience as a whole. In places like GW's and Burnt Beans, they're offering culinary aspects to barbecue, which I think is very enjoyable, especially for people who maybe they're going with their family and they're not big on barbecue, but they're like, "Oh man, this macaroni was good," or "Oh, these beans were good."
Yeah.
So I love that their breakfast incorporates some of the best barbecue you can get in a really, really good breakfast.
Yeah, I mean, you're spot on all of that. And I think that because that video released on Wednesday, I want you guys to go listen to what Ernest says. But, they have James Beard Awards. They have Michelin Awards. I don't believe they have a Michelin star, but if you look at the very front of their restaurant when you're walking in, they have the Michelin 2024 award. They are bringing a huge culinary aspect to the barbecue game. And you see that really, really well with the breakfast. Now, one of the things that Ernest mentioned to us, and you'll see it in the video, he wants to be the Thomas Keller of barbecue. If you guys don't know who Thomas Keller is, French Laundry, a huge culinary juggernaut that, like kind of paved the way for a lot of French cuisine, right? In
or
the
just
world.
like the basics of classic cooking in general.
Yeah.
He was like the pioneer for that. And so he's the type of person, and like the French Laundry thing, it's something that most culinary students are going to know about, but not necessarily every pitmaster is going to know about, right? But yeah, he wants to be like the pioneer of barbecue. Like when you think of classic cooking and those basics, you think of Thomas Keller in the culinary world.
Sure.
And so what he's saying is that he wants to be like when you think about barbecue, the basics of barbecue and that everything barbecue is.
Ernest Cervantes.
Yeah, you want to think about him.
Yeah.
And I think that's a really, really cool goal.
Yeah, and it's the one thing that I got from being there and just being around him is Ernest is very confident in him in himself and his team. Very confident. And one of the things that I love about confidence is I love when people are confident, but they're not so loud about it, if that makes sense, right? I could feel that he was confident. When he talked, I could tell that he was confident, but he wasn't being an a-hole about it. Like, oh, I'm the best, you're the worst, I'm number one, you're not number one. He didn't say anything like that. He's just, he knows he's a good cook. He wants to be the pioneer of this game, and so far, it looks like he's on his way, right? You have other people like Leroy and Lewis. Evan Leroy from Leroy and Lewis, I believe, is really, really... I've never met him, but, I've seen videos and stuff like that, and I think he's somewhat the same way as well. And they have the Michelin Award. They have James Beard Awards as well. And I think that just goes to show you that these people that are doing barbecue, you think about it in almost a barbaric form. Meat, fire, smoke. But, and that is what it is, right? But more people are bringing a little bit more to it. A little bit of extra flavor, a little bit of more technique. The red onion burger. Ernest has a way that he gets that burger red. If you take a bite of that burger and you look at it, it looks red. It almost looks like a sausage, like a beef sausage. He has a way to do that. He made the Shiner rice. He told us a little bit about how he makes that and the technique that goes into that. And that's like, man, I'm not sitting in my house thinking about those things when I'm making a rice or when I'm trying to make a recipe. And I think that just goes to show you that this is not just meat, fire, smoke anymore. It's going a little bit of a different direction, but the meat, fire, smoke aspect of it, they can still nail, and they can still do really, really well.
Yeah, I mean, whether you agree with it or not, I think adding that culinary aspect is what it takes to be at the top of this list. I mean, there's so many places in Texas that are going to offer barbecue that, in this day and age, with the amount of information that you can learn from, that we have access to, people are only getting better and better and better at barbecue and better at cooking in general. So I think those are the types of things that are almost necessary at this point to set yourself apart from everybody else.
Yeah, no, I agree. And just to round it all out, I would just say that burnt bean was what I always remember it was. It might even have been better.
I would recommend, my favorites were definitely that casserole, the corn pudding, the green beans, the banana pudding.
Banana pudding, dude.
Banana pudding is a must.
Fire. I think we still have some at the house, don't we?
Maybe.
Yeah, I definitely think that get all the proteins, get those specific sides. Those were like way up there for me, and your experience is going to be really, really good. If you can, go on Sunday morning and get the brunch. You will not be disappointed.
Yeah, absolutely.
I like we talked about earlier, it's all subjective, flavor subjective, but I can just about guarantee you're not going to be disappointed with the breakfast if you like breakfast food. Right?
Yeah, and if it's going to be your first time trying burnt bean in general and you're just going for the regular menu, go on a Thursday like we did. If you get there around 9 o'clock, the line isn't that bad, and you're just waiting a few hours until it opens. So if you're really looking forward to trying burnt bean for the first time, go on that Thursday instead of the Friday or Saturday.
Yeah, that's a good recommendation because, I mean, even for a Thursday, when the store opened, when the restaurant opened, the line was like
Yeah, once the line started
it was
going,
blocks.
yeah.
It was multiple blocks, but
Right.
either way. So yeah, burn bean was incredible. The very, very next day, we came home and we set up for a competition in Gregory, Texas, which is about a hop, skip, and
3
a jump
minutes.
away. So we were really, really close to the house. We kind of took our time a little bit, and we went out there, and man, we just did what we could do. We had another competition. We cooked everything. We felt really, really strongly about everything that we cooked. And I mean, how did it turn out?
Yeah, so Friday we actually did the fajitas,
Oh, yeah.
which
Yeah.
those turned out really good. And I think it started off with that really good skirt steak from Boari.
Yeah, so Boari, shout out to Nathan with Boari Craft Butchery in Corpus Christi, Texas. They got us hooked up with these inside skirt steaks that were phenomenal. I don't even know what to say. They were just so good. So we were pretty busy all week. I called up Nathan. I was like, hey, I need A, B, C, D, E, F, G. And
Yeah.
he's like, I'll have it ready for you. So he had everything ready for me. I didn't even look at it. Man, everything that he gave me, quality, quality, quality. So if you guys are in Corpus Christi, you definitely want to go to Boari. They've got everything you need. Also, they've got a really, really good lunch. They've got a really good lunch that's kind of popping off right now. So hit up Boari. We got some amazing inside skirt from there. And man, we just cooked it very, very similarly to the way that we would a steak. And I mean, when we took a bite, I knew that they were like fire.
Yeah.
I knew they were fire. I knew they were really, really good. So we obviously turned that in. We didn't know how we were going to do until the very next day, but I felt like it was a good, clean start to the contest. We were able to go eat some dinner with Fred that night. We were able to go home and sleep, shower, felt really good. Woke up early, went and started the pit. I was there for, I don't know, a couple hours by myself. What time did y'all get there? Around right at 8. So
Yeah.
I guess I was there from 5 to 8 by myself, so about 3 hours or so. And yeah, I mean, the cook felt really, really good. It felt really on point. I would say it felt like there was no hiccups. I felt like my timeline was good. I was wrapping everything. It's easier when Sabrina is there, but I do know what to do. And I had everything wrapped by the time, or most of the stuff wrapped by the time that she was back. I think you helped me with the brisket and stuff, but or no, I'm lying. I had the brisket. I remember I got the brisket ready. I wrapped the brisket. You helped me with the pork, but I already had ribs and brisket wrapped. And I mean, it was just a really, really easy cook. The Outlaw runs, I can't even tell you how good the Outlaw runs. It runs so, so good. It is just about incredible. But I felt very confident with everything that we cooked. I took a bite of the chicken. My sister took a bite of the chicken. My nephews took a bite of the chicken. My dad took a bite of the chicken. We had some guys walk up, and they were like, hey, you got any food that you're selling? I was like, man, I don't, but I have some chicken thighs here. Man, they all were there biting, and they're like, oh, my gosh, these are fire.
Yeah.
So we felt really good about chicken. And then, man, ribs come along, pork comes along, brisket comes along, and I stand by it. I just feel like everything that we made was very, very, very good. And, Sabrina asked me after the contest, man, how do you feel? And I was like, well, I mean, I feel pretty good. I'm not going to sit here in front with you, especially because, again, we start off with a strong chicken cook. It feels like everything falls into place. And so I would say ribs, pork, brisket tasted exactly the way we wanted it to. Our brisket was probably even better than, we made some, not changes to injection or anything, but our process was a little bit different this time, and I think that it's working, and it's very, very good. The moisture was perfect. The tenderness was perfect. The mouthfeel was excellent. I just really loved the brisket, so I felt good about everything. But, yeah, I mean, we went to awards, and we started off with another chicken call.
Yeah.
We started off with a 6th place chicken call. So if you guys can kind of think about the last couple of contests, that's the way we started off, and the rest of the proteins didn't do what we wanted them to do. So, unfortunately, again, it happened the same exact way. We started off with a good chicken call, and everything else fell flat for us, and we ended up getting 11th overall and just unfortunately having a really bad event. We did win 1st place fajitas, which was a little bit of a pick-me-up, but the rest of it was unfortunate, and we were pretty bummed out. We thought we had a really good cook, but, Sabrina and I always talk about what are the learnings from this? What sign are we being given? What lesson is this from the good man upstairs? And I think that our lesson, or what we've come to, the conclusion that we've come to, is life is just not always fair, right? Things do not always go your way. That is okay. That is okay. It's not always going to be perfect. It's not always going to be pretty. It's not always going to be fun. But Sabrina and I trust the process here, and we are going to continue doing what we do. We're going to continue making videos. We're going to continue to compete. We've really, really dialed back the competing, but we are going to compete around here. We're going to support locally, and we're going to try and do as many IBCAs and CBAs that we can. We were definitely disappointed. I think we're still a little disappointed. We felt like, man, we've been thinking back, man, are we sure the rib didn't taste bad? Are we sure the pork didn't taste bad? Are we sure the brisket didn't taste bad? And we cannot pinpoint anything personally that we thought was not good, but I don't really know what else to say besides that's the conclusion that we've come to, is that it's not always fair and it's not always going to go your way, but you do not stop going towards your destination, and you do not let these things deter you from reaching your goals.
Yeah, and I think, as I said, Cuero was a very consistent cook. Gregory was an even more consistent cook. I thought it was such a strong cook. And, I don't want this to come off as like, being overly confident, but based on our texture, our taste, and our appearance on everything, I thought, okay, we can definitely walk away with some really, really high calls here. So now we got no call in ribs. We got a 9th call in pork and a 6th in brisket.
Yeah.
But which, might not sound bad, right? But this was a very, very small competition.
Very small.
I mean, about around 15 teams, something like that.
Yeah.
So those are not the calls you want. Getting an 11th overall is not good in that scenario.
Yeah.
We want to be much higher up there. So, yeah, I was very disappointed. And one of the things, and I don't want this to come across as like an excuse, right? Because I know we've said, it's not all like luck. Right? If you did good, you did good.
Mm-hmm.
Right? If you didn't get the calls, man, it just, there was something there that the judges didn't want.
Sure.
But what I will say is that I think a big portion of it that does feel like luck is the judging room itself. Like when you think about Cuero, so many judges having to judge so many entries. It's one of those things where at that point, it's kind of like, okay, well, we're just trying stuff, and I'm going to start marking this, and this, because at this point, I'm full. I don't want to eat anything else.
Sure.
Right? And then when you have a scenario like Gregory, where it's so little teams, and possibly, I don't know how many tables it was, but I think it was only around 1, maybe 2. But you have very little tables, and everybody's just getting beat up by the same judges. There's no diversity in the judging room because it's a small amount of groups. They don't need a lot of judges, right? So you're going to have those judges who, like, just absolutely don't care for the specific type of barbecue that you make. And that's really hard to deal with sometimes, because I think everybody makes a very specific type of barbecue. And then also, we really take pride in making beautiful food. So it's really hard when our appearance scores aren't even 10s, which I know that sounds like really cocky, right? But at the very least, your appearance should not be based on anything else other than the way that it looks. And we do our best to put out the best looking food, so that way that's one score we don't have to worry about, because we know we did what we could. We can't control what taste or what texture they want, but we can control how this looks. And so it's really hard to walk away and you get like 9s and 8s on appearance. But judging is just so subjective. You just don't know what they're going to want in there. And I think in that case, there is some luck involved. And just like, we have not been lucky these past couple weekends in that judging room.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just one of those things where, kind of like I was saying a second ago, it's not always fair. It's not always what you want to see or what you want to hear, but it's just kind of the way the cookie crumbles sometimes.
Well, and that's what makes you want to come back out and keep doing it.
For sure. I mean, a lot of people, that would deter them, but for us, it's like, man, can we go a little sooner than the next one that we wanted to go to, so we can try and make up for what we didn't get here. But, I think that it's hard to judge the barbecue, especially when you have a lot of really good teams and the flavor profiles are probably pretty similar. But, we just have to walk away from that one knowing that we did do everything we wanted to do genuinely. And I feel like we did have a really strong cook genuinely, and just live with the results. I mean, it's one of those things where, I was just reading something earlier today and it made me think about the competition because, you can be upset over things, but man, whatever's happened, it's done. If not that we're doing this, right? But the more you let it control you, the more you let it control your emotions, the more that something that you cannot change is quite literally dictating your mood. So it's best for us just to, hey, it didn't go the way we wanted it to, but we can always try again. As long as, God willing, we wake up tomorrow, we got another shot.
Well, I tell you what, you can't be too mad about getting beat up by your own seasonings because there's a lot of people out there using our products that were there, both in Cuero and Gregory. And, I love to see it. The social media posts, the people out there thanking us for our products. I mean, that does mean a lot to us. So it's a little bittersweet, but hey, you can't be mad at it.
Yeah, I mean, we're trying to build a brand. We're trying to help people get better at barbecue through products, through videos, through podcasts, through everything. And I feel like we are definitely doing that well. So if that means that they're going to go out there and beat us, we're still doing our job. We're still doing a great job growing the Gulf Coast Smoke brand and family. So it's just one of those things where you take the wins. We had somebody that posted on their social media that they saw our fajita box that we posted, and they used it as inspiration, and they won a first place fajitas as well. And man, to me, that is a huge win because we inspired somebody to do something for their box. Obviously, they had to cook the fajitas, and I'm sure they tasted great, but we gave them inspiration. And, it's a good feeling. So little wins all the time can equate to something big. We're going to keep trying to have little wins every single day, keep trying to do stuff for our business every single day, and hopefully in the end, we get to where we want to get. And I feel like we will. So, it is what it is. It's over, and we'll move on to the next one.
Yeah, for sure. And so the last thing, of course, the very next day, more and more barbecue. We went back to GW's and we brought the whole family. Now, the goal here was to try the fried chicken.
Yeah,
they have fried chicken on Sundays.
Fried chicken. I wanted to take my dad to eat fried chicken and cornbread. And we went up and I ordered everything. And then I paid. We sat down and my sister was like, "Oh, where's the fried chicken?" I'm like, "Oh my gosh, I forgot to order the fried chicken." So I walked back over there. Man, the line was extremely long. We were second in line. And I just, unfortunately, I wasn't going to go to the back of the line again. So we did not get the fried chicken, but
it was a blessing in disguise.
Yeah, because I ordered a lot of food and we still didn't even finish it. So it was, a blessing in disguise, but everything was incredible again. I just really love the guys over there at GW's. And again, they're doing some amazing things. The reason we went back was because, my sister and my dad saw the video that we put out. They thought the food looked delicious. So I said, you know what, let's treat them. So we went over there, hung out for the day, came back home, did some cool stuff over there, and everything was really good.
Yeah, and this time around we did spend much less, and that's the point we're trying to make when we tell you the price, is that we went back and we got exactly what we wanted for the most part. We didn't try every single side. We brought the family and had them try the sides that we thought, were our favorites, and the things that were our favorites. Made sure to get a bunch of cornbread. And so, you're going to spend a little bit less when you're dialing down what to order.
Well, there was 11 of us, and it was $250. Yeah. So we were able to treat the family for $250. Everybody got a drink. Everybody got what they wanted. And, I would say that that's actually a pretty good price per person, especially for some really, really dang good barbecue. So it was a great, great trip to GW's, and I'm sure we'll do it again. I'm sure we're going to be doing a little bit more of these trips because it seems that you guys like these videos, and we're in this to make videos you guys like and want to watch. And so, we appreciate you guys sticking with us. And sorry we hadn't been doing the podcast for the past couple of weeks, but we're back. And we hope to not miss any more weeks. I mean, sometimes life happens, but, it just kind of is what it is. We're back now, and hopefully moving forward we don't miss any more weeks.
Yeah, for sure. And while I feel like we still could keep going on, I've got 3 minutes left on my camera memory cards. So we got to wrap this up.
Yep. So if we didn't have anything else, I'll take this opportunity to remind you guys, if you're watching this on YouTube, you can subscribe to our channel. It is completely free to do that. We have over 70,000 subscribers now, and I want to hit 100 before the end of the year if possible, and I know that it is. So if you guys like our channel, if you like the stuff that you see, and drop a comment down below. Let us know what your favorite types of videos are. Subscribe, share it with a friend. If you're listening to this on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or any of those other platforms, man, share it with a friend. Maybe they like to hear us talk about barbecue. Maybe they like to hear about us going to restaurants and just talking about all different types of stuff. This is All Things Everything. Sabrina has nothing else. I'm good. We will see you guys on the next episode. Peace.